Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. This is a video on daily news and editorial analysis which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express. So the most important news and editorial would be discussed in this session. Let's get started with the topic first. Today is 13th of July. The first topic is RBI allow retail investor to directly buy and sell the government securities. Second, inflation remained above the 6% in June. The 4% recommendation by the RBI has not been yet met. Third, IMA urges center states to stay prepared for the third wave. So, a warning coming from the Indian Medical Association. Third, the second last is Afghan situation to dominate Central Asia visit. So, the External Affairs Minister is on the visit. SCO meeting is going to be held, and they would be discussing some important issues related to Afghanistan. And the last is prioritizing school reopening on the roadmap to recovery, right? So this is an editorial from the Hindu. Apart from discussion, there would be some MCQs question. These would be based on current affairs that will help you in the upcoming prelims examination. And those of you who are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus for Academy Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, do not forget to give a thumbs up. So the first news of the day, that is RBI allow retail investors to directly buy and sell the government securities. Important for your general studies paper 3 in the mains paper. Inclusive growth and issues arising from it. Also very much relevant for the prelims, and G security as a concept is always important for the prelims part. Now what RBI has decided, we'll understand in detail. Recently RBI ने announce किया एक स्कीम उन्होंने बताया जहाँ पे रिटेल इन्वेस्टर वुड बी अलाउड टू open the retail direct gilt account RDG. So this account is very important. Make sure you understand this news well. Very important for the prelims. A direct question can be asked, right? So basically the investors जो होंगे, retail investors होंगे, they would be allowed to open RDG account, that stand for retail direct gilt account, right? And this is, they can open account directly with the central bank. Now according to the recent notifications जो release की गई RBI की तरफ से, the retail investor would open and maintain the retail direct gilt account RDG account with RBI access to GSEC platforms. जो गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज प्लेटफॉर्म है वहां पे रिटेलर्स डायरेक्टली ऑपरेट कर पाएंगे. नाउ दिस अकाउंट वुड बी ओपन थ्रू अ डेडिकेटेड ऑनलाइन पोर्टल, राइट? एक डेडिकेटेड पोर्टल बनाई गई है where the user has to register, or the retailer has to register with access of primary assurance of government securities to NDS-OM, right? जो NDS-OM है उस पे जाकर उनको रजिस्टर करना होगा, जो credential है that would be required. Now the NDS-OM is a basically RBI platform of buying and selling the government securities and money market instrument जितनी भी secondary market में है वहाँ पे इसके through operate की जाती है. Now the date of commencement की अगर बात करें स्कीम की, this would be announced on a later date. RBI has just released. The execution part would be coming very soon, and no fees would be charged on the opening and maintaining of RDG accounts, right? Facility, this point is important. They can ask you in examination whether there's some charge or not. So there is no charges, right? The facility was announced in the statement of the development regulatory policy in February 2021. और RBI की ये जो स्कीम है, the scheme is a one-step solution to facilitate investment जो गवर्नमेंट securities है, considering the fact that during COVID-19 government want to raise fund, right? And government securities is considered as a best option when government raise the fund. So government security would again allow individual investors to invest, and that money can be further utilized in the economic growth, right? So this is how RBI is trying to rationalize and stabilizing the economy. Now securities किनके लिए available होगी, those people who can avail that. So security available for traders. Once the scheme is launched, a retail investor can buy and sell treasury bill, जिसको T-bill कहते हैं, government securities, sovereign gold bond, right? This is again very famous instrument, SGB. Many people are investing. You can buy digital gold here, and state development loans. So these are the four important instruments that can be used by the traders. Now eligibility criteria, those basically I've told you the retail people would be allowed, but some eligibility criteria has been mentioned for the RDG account. जो retail investors होंगे they need to have a saving bank account and a PAN number, permanent account number. KYC is mandatory on this part, and a valid email address and a mobile number. So these are some of the basic necessity requirement that would be required to proceed with the function. An RDG account can held either by one person or jointly. It is same like a saving account. आप jointly account भी operate कर सकते हैं. It is the same process. Now, only those non-resident investors eligible to invest in G securities would be allowed to open the RDG account. So these points are very important. When UPSC will frame you a question, they would definitely use this type of important point in the questions, right? So only those non-resident जो eligible हैं G security में invest करने के लिए वो ही RDG account खोल सकते हैं. Now, what are the procedures? How they would be proceeding? So after registration on the online portal, the retail investor need to authenticate themselves using one-time verification password. OTP से उनको verify करना होगा either in the mail or in the mobile numbers, right? And they would need to submit the KYC, know your customers document, open during the RDG account. These are the basic procedures and formalities that need to be completed before proceeding with the RDG accounts. Now, how the buying and selling would happen and what are the procedures, how the bidding process would be, then how the participation is going to be there. So during bidding, the participations and allotment of security will be as per the non-competitive bidding scheme of the Reserve Bank of India. And one-time investors जो payment करेंगे, that would be credited as a security to their RDG account, right? It's a value that would be generated in their RDG account. And to buy and sell the security in secondary market जो procedures होती थी similar है यहाँ पे भी, right? जैसे आप कोई mutual fund या stocks purchase करते हैं, in the same manner you can buy the other part and the RDG account जो भी होंगी वहाँ पे भी ले सकते हैं. Same that will happen in the government securities. Before the start of the trading hours during the day, the investor must transfer fund to the designated account. उसके बाद उसकी clearance होगी, जिस CCIL कहते हैं, Clearing Corporation of NDS-OM online. So first they have to credit the fund, and accordingly the allocation would be done from that particular amount in the wallet or in the portal that is there. They can buy the shares, or if they can buy the government securities based on the actual transfers जो funding limit है या फिर buying limit बोल सकते हो, that would be given to investor to place buying and orders, right? And at the end of the season the excess fund would be refunded back. So this is how the procedure is, and the things would be more clear once the online portal is being operationalized. Now the other news, that is inflation remain above the 6% in June. We have seen that the inflation is on high rise, 6.26 or 6.63%. We've seen it is not stable. The recommendation of the RBI was previously 4%. We'll see how the things has changed and what other sectors the inflation has impacted. So important for General Studies paper 3 issues and Indian economy issue related to planning, mobilization, growth and developments. Retail inflation की बात करें, that has slipped to 6.26% in June, and that has remained above the RBI norms and the level which they have suggested, right? 4% was the anticipations. और अगर बात करें इस टाइम की CPI की, so this is 6.3% and 6.23% in June 2020. So again we have seen a rise here. And जो economists हैं, जो experts हैं, they have said the RBI need to revisit its inflation estimates. और आप जो एक्सपर्ट का कहना है कि RBI को अपनी एस्टिमेट चेंज करने की जरूरत है from 4% to 5.1%, right? Because we are seeing the rise of almost 6%, right? So this is the recommendations coming from the economist, और एक्सपर्ट ने ये स्ट्रेस दिया कि लैक ऑफ फिजिकल पॉलिसी एक्शन होने की वजह से जो फास्टर अनविंडिंग होनी चाहिए थी इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ की, दैट इज नॉट देयर. एंड इवन द इंटरेस्ट रेट जो सपोर्टिंग अप्रोच टू होनी चाहिए इंटरेस्ट रेट के प्रति, दैट इज ऑल्सो नॉट देयर. सो व्हाट दे बेसिकली वांट, दे वांट अ सस्टेनेबल पॉलिसी that could sustain the overall consumer price index and inflation in this country. Effect of hiked fuel prices. Definitely we have seen the prices of fuel has again rise up to 105, even in some states like it has in like Rajasthan it is 103 in Ganganagar and other districts. So because of the price rise, there's again sure fuel price rises have result in the inflation that is at to 12.7% in June and 11.9% in May. Food inflation की बात करें, these are all percentage driven, so just understand, do not mug up the percentage. I'm just telling you what exactly has happened. Food inflations की बात करें, just 2% in April, now rose up to 5% in May. So you can see that rise in that food inflation. That has led up by 34% in inflation rate for oils and fats and 19% for eggs. So these are the rise that has been witnessed. Inflation measured by the CPI, we know that inflation is being measured by the consumer price index, that has declined by just 4 basic point, 6.30, right? And 1 basic point is equal to 0.01%. Now growth, talking about the economic growth status, how the recovery has been and how much things need to be done. So growth impetus की अगर बात करें, that remain fragile, अभी भी बहुत स्थिति अच्छी नहीं है, still it is more fragile. And talking about the second COVID-19 wave, that has hurt economy in a longer run, right? जो recovery momentum है वो भी slow हुई है. And estimate industrial output for the May with an output level of 8% lower than April. मैन्युफैक्चरिंग की अगर बात करें, दैट टैंक्स टू 9.5% मंथ टू मंथ इलेक्ट्रिक प्रोडक्टिविटी की प्रोडक्शंस एंड दैट फेल टू 7%. अर्लियर इट वाज 9%, नाउ दे हैव फेल डाउन टू 7% एंड ग्रेजुअली mined moved up to 0.6%. So mining has marginally improved by 0.6%. Headline factory output की अगर बात करें, that increased 29.3% over the incomparable May 2020, and industrial output has collapsed over 33% in the midst of national lockdown. So still more robust policy and conclusive growth need to be maintained so that we can sustain our inflation, our growth rate, and overall prosperity for the economy. The other news, that IMA, that the Indian Medical Association, urged the center and states to prepare for the third wave. So this is issues related to development and management of health and general studies paper 2. So what IMA has said, they have recently warned that a third wave is inevitable and the pandemic can be there, right? So this is a warning they have raised, and they have appealed the central government and the state government to not let their guard down. So जिस तरह के precautions measures लिए जा रहे हैं, जो भी SOP standard operating procedures follow किए जा रहे हैं, even the miniature lockdown that exist in the states, that need to put in place and we cannot lift it suddenly, right? So mass gathering को avoid करने की बात की गई. We have seen many tourist places in Himachal and even in Uttarakhand. The pictures were viral in Instagram and other social media platform that shows that the people has gathered a lot in the tourist place, and IMA has warned कि जिस तरह के फेस्टिवल सीजन्स आने वाले हैं, this can be a wake up for possible third wave of the COVID-19, right? So this is our duty. We as an individual also need to be responsible and not to make such gathering, because still the vaccination process is slow in our country. I'll show you a graph that will help you understand about the actual basically क्या percentage है. Precautionary measures की बात करें, IMA in a letter to Prime Minister has said कि जितने भी travel, tourism और pilgrimages cited है, religious functions है, that could wait for another few months and then only they can make functional, right? So still they have cautioned the system, the administration, the central government कि अभी रुकने की ज़रूरत है. Opening up of travel and allowing people for the vaccination would be more important, right? Without vaccinations, people should not ask to have a mass gathering, and this would create a potential super spreader. अगर इस तरह की चीजें खुलती हैं, religious places हो गई, pilgrimages हो गई, other tourist sites होती हैं, that can be a super spreader of the third wave, right? So first and foremost is the vaccination, right? So vaccination need to be done at the speediest pace, and only if vaccination cover much of the population, then we can assure ourselves yes, we are on a safer side, right? And it is possible to face third wave with confidence and mitigate its impact. If more people are vaccinated, the intensity of the third wave would be very less, right? Now, this is a graph that will help you understand about the actual vaccination process. This is a current graph. So fully vaccinated people is around 5.4%. At least with one doses is 22.3%. If you talk about the age group, So in age group of 18 plus, 32% of the people have been vaccinated. 45 plus में 67% लोग हैं जिन्होंने वैक्सीनेशन ले लिया है, and for 60 plus 73% of the population has been vaccinated, right? So this is a current figure as of now with the India vaccination process. Now, Afghan solutions to dominate Central Asia visit. This is important for your general studies paper 2. Bilateral regional grouping and agreement evolving India's and affecting India's interest. So, India के जो external affairs minister है, is on a visit to Central Asia, and his meeting would focuses on Afghanistan. Basically, he would be attending the first Shanghai Cooperation meeting, जो कि डस्पेन में हो रही है, and this is scheduled for 13th and 14th of May, which he will be traveling to Taksin. उसके बाद रीजनल जो अलग रीजनल कॉन्फ्रेंसेज हैं उनमें अटेंड करनी है फॉरेन मिनिस्टर्स को. ही वुड बी अटेंडिंग फॉर 15 to 16, right? So this is how the things would function. Now the SCO meeting, this is the first official meeting after the actual line of control disengagement which escalated and which has continued for more than a year. उसके बाद ये पहली मीटिंग होगी जब SCO के मीटिंग में इंडिया के फॉरेन अफेयर मिनिस्टर एंड हिज चाइनीज काउंटर पार्ट वुड बी मीटिंग. However, the agreement is yet to be fully implemented on this ground. जो line of actual control में ईस्टर्न लद्दाख में जो प्रॉब्लम हुई थी, चाइना ने कहा था they would be de-escalating the entire process, but the implementation is still pending. And Afghanistan would include Uzbekistan, India, Iran trilateral future plan, जहाँ पे एक प्रेफरेंशियल ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट जो PTA है उसके लिए भी बात की जाएगी, एंड इंडिया वेर ऑल्सो अंडर द कंसिडरेशंस, राइट? Now you can see these images. This will help you understand that who is in control in Afghanistan. The picture has been taken from the British Broadcasting Corporations. So this is Taliban control areas, and you can see the blue color. This is in government control area, and the yellow in color is contested, right? So contested is again the more debatable issues, and this is being the reason the escalation between the Taliban and Afghanistan exists, right? So this picture would give you a wholesome idea why there's so much conflict arising in the Afghanistan region, right? This is the Lashkar-Gah, Kandahar and Kabul region. Now, role of Taliban की अगर बात करें, Taliban has stepped up violence in the country. Taliban के जो militant है, they are taking over the places, the town and the cities, right, from the Afghan forces, which has led to India pulling its staff on the Kandahar consultant. So India also look forward for a peace process and stability in the Afghanistan and ensure that any militant group or terrorist activity do not operate in the region, because that would be severely impacting our country. And presently it is seen by some of the sources that problem and threat, but it is a source of possibilities. So बात की गई है कि अगर peace process stability होती है, if a Taliban group, the political group operates, it should also ensure कि उस region में stability maintained हो, right? Now the other news, that is prioritizing school reopening on the road to recovery. This is written by Bhaskar Raman and Om Dhamni. These two are the members of the Department of Computer Science and Engineering in IIT Bombay. So that talks about the functions and responsibility of union and states and how it is important, how much it is important to open the schools. So what are the main issues that are involved under this editorial? So I've segregated this in 5 subtopics, that is impact of the school closures, finding of the survey, health and well-being concern, accessing the risk factors, and the last is vaccinations for children. अब पूरी एडिटोरियल की थीम की बात करें तो पूरी एडिटोरियल में बात की गई है themes of pandemic, effects of pandemic on school education. So how the school education have been severely impacted because of the pandemic. Now, most schools were closed. We know that during the national lockdown, which actually started in March 2020. So the entire school is closed from then only. Between some time, the school were allowed with class 10 and 12 students, but still there's a lockdown that exists. So interestingly, अगर बात करें पूरे वर्ल्ड में इस तरह की प्रॉब्लम हुई नोवल कोरोना वायरस की, but India was among the worst hit in terms of the primary school closures and the most of the school closures. Now this include various other European countries such as Portugal, France and Netherlands. Many other countries also exist in this list. State of Florida की बात करें, they have opened their school in-person classes with late September 2020, and they stayed open during the second wave also. So these countries have operated with the schools. कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट कंट्रीज ने, जैसे जिस कंट्रीज ने स्कूल को ओपन रखा था, दीज आर दैट कंट्री दे हैव ओपन देयर स्कूल अपार्ट फ्रॉम द स्टेट ऑफ फ्लोरिडा. नाउ ऑन द अदर हैंड इंडियाज की अगर बात करें, इंडिया में स्कूल वेयर इवन शट डाउन. जितने भी बिजनेस एक्टिविटीज हैं दे वर अलाउड बट स्कूल वेयर शट डाउन. सो ये कॉन्ट्राडिक्शंस हैं कि एक तरफ तो आप बिजनेस को ऑपरेट करने दे रहे हैं बट स्कूल आर क्लोज, बट अदर पीपल want that we do not have vaccine for child, that is the reason we are not opening the school. So both statements are somewhere valid, but we have repercussion of the closures of schools. क्या क्या इम्पैक्ट हुए स्कूल क्लोजर के? सबसे पहली बात है, स्कूल क्लोजर की बहुत ही इमेंस इम्पैक्ट हुई है. कंसिडरेबली इन्वेस्टमेंट अगर बात करें, पीपल इन्वेस्ट इन देयर चाइल्ड एजुकेशन बिकॉज वो बच्चे के बेटर फ्यूचर के लिए होती है एंड इवन फॉर द बेटर फ्यूचर ऑफ द फैमिलीज, राइट. बट जिस तरह से इस बार क्लास 10 के बच्चों को प्रमोट की गई है, राइट, सो अबाउट जो लास्ट के बच्चे हैं, जो बॉटम हाफ है, मान लो कि अगर 100 बच्चों ने पास किया क्लास 10 के एग्जाम्स को, तो 50 जो बॉटम बच्चे होंगे, दीज स्टूडेंट आर एक्चुअली लैकिंग 2 years बिहाइंड बिकॉज देयर स्किल वाज नॉट प्रोलॉन्ग. हर बच्चों को प्रमोट की गई है, कई बच्चे अच्छे भी होंगे पढ़ने में, कई बच्चे एवरेज होंगे, कई बच्चे पुअर होंगे. सो ऑल द स्टूडेंट आर प्रमोटेड. नाउ दिस विल क्रिएट अ मेजर प्रॉब्लम फॉर दीज स्टूडेंट बिकॉज इट वुड क्रिएट अ वाइडेन गैप ऑफ नॉलेज, राइट. एंड this would also impact these students, the back benches, we call it the back benches. इनके लिए बहुत ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम होगी फ्यूचर्स में. If you talk about the competitive examination, their basis would not be clear. That would impact in their class 12 and other future competitive examination, right? और कहीं ना कहीं experts का मानना है, जो editorial में editors कह रहे हैं, this can lead to the deeper poverty, right? If you do not have good education, education is the only tool that can overcome you from the poverty, right? So is this closure can lead to the future generation to the deeper poverty? This is what the question has been raised. और irony है that poorest family living in the dense urban slums, right, they are burned with the first wave. और largely अब उनकी immunity की बात करें, these students are suffering from the school closure. immunity तो कहीं ना कहीं herd immunity से developed हो गई है, but vaccination is something which is again very important for these peoples. सर्वे में कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट फाइंडिंग की बात की गई है. 10 स्टेट्स पे सर्वे की गई थी ड्यूरिंग नवंबर 2020 एंड नियरली 2/3 ऑफ द चिल्ड्रन इन द रूरल एरिया हैव ड्रॉप्ड आउट द स्कूल, राइट. ये सिचुएशन और वर्स हो सकती है. हरियाणा की बात करें, दे हैव रिपोर्टेड 42% ड्रॉप इन द स्टूडेंट एनरोलमेंट. प्रोलॉन्ग्ड शटडाउन देखी गई है इन इंडियाज फर्स्ट अगेंस्ट द चाइल्ड लेबर एंड चाइल्ड मैरिजेस. एंड ड्यू टू शटडाउन जो मिड डे मील स्कीम्स हैं उसकी भी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन पूरी तरह से नहीं हुई है. And it was estimated that about 8 lakh additional school would facing the underweight and wasting problem, right? So this is how the things need to be taken care of. We need to understand the nutritional value and the quality of education that can be imparted to our child. हेल्थ वेलबींग एंड इम्पॉर्टेंट कंसर्न्स. इवन जिस तरह से अर्बन एरिया की बात करें, जो डेवलप्ड नेशन है, दे हैव एक्सटेंडेड स्कूल क्लोजर इन सीवियर इम्पैक्ट ऑफ द चाइल्ड मेंटल हेल्थ, राइट. बच्चों की मेंटल हेल्थ पे भी काफ़ी ज़्यादा इम्पैक्ट हुई है. लॉस वेगस की अगर बात करें, इन यूएस द सर्ज ऑफ द स्टूडेंट एंड सुसाइड हैज़ इंक्रीज. सो दैट इज़ द रीज़न दे हैव ओपन देयर स्कूल. एंड यूनाइटेड किंगडम ने रिपोर्ट किया है कि 40% राइज इन द नंबर ऑफ चाइल्ड टेकिंग द एंटी डिप्रेसेंट्स. जिनको डिप्रेशंस होती हैं, दे आर बीन ट्रीटेड विद एंटी डिप्रेसेंट ड्रग्स and the rise has been seen up to 40%. So you can see there's several mental impact that's happened because of the school closures, right? Not only school closures, that people, the students are actually feeling lonely. They do not have social bonding with the students, neither for the friends, neither from the parents or from the teachers. So this is the reason that has disturbed their mental state of mind. Assessing the risk factor, हमें risk factor को assess करने की ज़रूरत है. And the children with a much lower for the adult that need to have a good skilling, they need to have good monitoring with the parents and the teachers. And based on the study, 137 million school in the US and Europe have observed COVID-19 in this age group. और ये ऐसे ग्रुप हैं जो कि highly riskable ग्रुप में आते हैं. इन्फ्लुएंजा और 20 times risk than the other unintended injuries. Now comparison की जाए infant mortality rate के इंडिया में, this has up to 3%, right? And the infant mortality rate in Japan is around 0.1%. So you can see it's 60 times higher than Japan. And there has been a concern that possibly third wave involved in the new variant and could affect the children, right? So we have to ensure the third wave should not come, and even it should come, then we should vaccinate our children. Already Cipla and other important companies are having their trials very soon. By September, it is possibly being argued that the vaccination could come for below 18 plus. Below 18, no, not 18 plus, below 18. So we can also be rest assured that these number of children would also be vaccinated. Now, vaccine for children, again, very important part. Without this, we cannot ensure that our child are safe. So before the actual school reopening take place, vaccination is very important, and any medical intervention, especially for child, must be assessed with a careful analysis. Now it is pertinent कि जितने भी growing concern है Western countries में like USA. So this said there is a pertinent link between the herd inflammation and mRNA vaccine among the adolescents. So some repercussions, some side effect has also been seen with the mRNA vaccines. And we cannot let our children suffer with the further prolonged school closures. And more than that, the fears of children and the other educational norms, policy makers ये ज़रूरी है कि वो evidence based decision ले, and school reopening would be the other most crucial part that is required in India apart from economy recovery. Now moving to the MCQs question of the day. Before I proceed with the question, just to tell you the answers of yesterday questions. So for the first question, the correct option is C. For the second question, the correct answer is A. Today's question with regards to corruption perception index, consider the following statement. Whether the first statement is correct, perception index is being released by the Corruption Eradication Commission, and India has slipped the rank 87 position among 180 countries in CPI. If you know the correct answer, do let me know in the comment section down below, right? And do let me know what sort of more question you want. We will be diversifying our question as well as per your recommendations. Second, which of the Indian city wins the global tree status? Indore, Bangalore, Hyderabad, or New Delhi? So you have to write your answer in the comment section down below. So this was all about the daily news and editorial analysis followed by the MCQs question. If you have any other concern, do let us know. I'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for listening.